Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the exciting session. I think so far it is going really good. And we thought that we wanted when myself and Professor Martha was discussing that how this whole conference can benefit the entire community apart from science and technology discussions. And then we thought of introducing student panel discussions. Now we thought that we have to give an opportunity. We always put funding applications and then do research on our own, etc. But we don't know what exactly funders want, and also what bigger impact, societal impact can be created, and that too in this very, very challenging times ahead, when the EV and then the batteries and then batteries recycling and the supply chain. There's lots of things are coming into picture in terms of interdisciplinary research. So we thought that it's better if we can have a panel discussion with the funders and also with other entrepreneurs. So I'm very, very thankful for this wonderful panel with Sanjeev Varshney is from Department of Science and Technology. And probably I think I would like the panel to introduce themselves rather than me telling. So let me go with start with Sanjeev Varshney, please.
Namaskar, everyone, and good evening to colleagues from UK. I'm Sanjeev Varshney from Department of Science and Technology, and my responsibility is International Scientific Cooperation of India, what we could do from the department. So we are working with several UK colleagues, and one of them is here, Rebecca. But then we are working with the British Council, we are working with BIS, we are working with Royal Society. So we have ample number of partners, including Academy of Engineering and Academy of Medical Sciences. So there are a lot of partners. So I look forward for a healthy discussion today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjeev. I think I have to mention that this particular project is funded by DST and also British Council and also Royal Academy of Engineering, the other side of the thing. So while we are talking about Royal Academy of Engineering, which is an industry academia grant which we got, so we are collaborating with Industry Nile Limited on this battery challenge. And since Royal Academy of Engineering is mentioned by me already, so I would like Anna to introduce yourself, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Anna Avaliani. I'm the Director of Enterprise and Sustainable Development at the Royal Academy of Engineering, and within the team we are supporting entrepreneurs here in the UK as well as globally, and we're also running a number of programs which are supporting skills development as well as capacity building. So a range of program activities, and I'm delighted to be here today and lovely to be supporting this particular award and the team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. Let me go again to Rebecca. Rebecca, thank you so much. I know it's a Friday evening for you. It's 7 p.m. there. So I know that there was some time mismatch happened in the communication. Thanks, Rebecca, for coming through. So please introduce us.
Thanks so much, Satheesh. I'm Rebecca Fairbairn. I'm Director of UK Research and Innovation here in India. So UKRI is the UK's major funder of research and innovation in businesses and in research organisations, and we have a budget of around 8 billion each year. We're a reasonably new player on the block though. So we were created in 2018 from a number of existing organisations. One of the things that we're really pushing to do is to create a vibrant and inclusive environment for research and innovation to flourish, pushing back boundaries of knowledge, delivering social and economic impact. And we do work closely with others, including the Royal Academy of Engineering, to make sure that that can happen. We are quite an international organisation in what we do. We only have 4 international offices with key countries, so partnerships with DST and Sanjeev Varshney are absolutely important to us, which is why we have an office here in India. We also have offices in China, North America and Europe, so that we can really help build the partnerships that we need for the UK's research and innovation community.
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. And it's really exciting to hear about the strategic partnerships with India and China. And I think there is more and more policy document, which I saw even yesterday, something launched from UKRE on the India strategy document. So and the energy and the 5G are one of the key aspects you would like to cover as well. So it's a very interesting times as we are talking about academy industry collaborations. So I thought that people who are not familiar here, so we have a nice ARC, Oxford Cambridge ARC. So that brings me Pim. So Pim, you can talk about yourself.
Yes, thank you very much, Satheesh, and very nice to be here. And hello, everybody. So my name is Pim van Brassen. I'm CEO for the Silverstone Technology Cluster. So we're a not-for-profit cluster support organization, and we're set up specifically to help advanced engineering, electronics, and software businesses in the wider Silverstone area, which Satheesh referred to as well as the Oxford to Cambridge ARC. So that's the area in the UK in between Oxford and Cambridge, if you will. And so we exist to help the advanced engineering, electronics, and software companies there. Research has indicated there's roughly 4,500 companies in the area that are active in that field, and we exist to support them in a not-for-profit capacity. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Pim. And finally, our host as well, one of our hosts is Kevin Shakesheff. So Kevin is a pro VC here, and Kevin, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Satheesh. Hello to everyone. Real pleasure to be on the panel today. So my name's Kevin Shakesheff. I'm a professor in life sciences. Recently moved to the Open University and delighted to be here because my real passion is bringing people together to form interdisciplinary teams. We're looking within the Open University to align our research with major societal challenges and opportunities, and the work that you're talking, about here is core to that. So, the Open University, if you're not familiar with us, just over 50 years old, really a unique type of university when it was set up, aiming to open up opportunities in higher education across the country, using remote teaching methods, which has stood us in very good stead during the very difficult times during COVID. Our staff are really passionate about making a societal impact, and I think the best way of doing that is working with great people around the world, sharing problems and sharing the solutions to those. So I'm very keen to work with our very talented staff, such as Satheesh, to really help form those teams.
Thank you very much, Kevin. And finally, we have another PA from here, Surendra Martha.
Hello, everyone. So this is Surendra Martha, Associate Professor from IIT Hyderabad. So I am also the co-organizer for this event. So thank you very much, Professor Satheesh, again for this wonderful event. I think it went very well since last 2 days. And we have wonderful speakers throughout the world, and mostly we covered lithium, beyond lithium, and recycling of lithium-ion batteries. It was a really wonderful event. So I really enjoyed attending even all the sessions during last 3 days. Thank you again.
Yeah. So I would like to keep this as a more of an interactive session between audience, and then how the discussion evolves from there. So let me start off with the first few questions. It is funders' perspective. So let me start with even Sanjeev back again, if you don't mind. So what are all these internal funding opportunities available within? Because we have is a UK-India perspective particular conference. This one is. So what is the funding available locally, and what is the bigger challenge you are trying to address in terms of energy storage, and what partnership is needed?
Thank you, Satheesh. In fact, Government of India has launched a mission which is called Mission for Electric Mobility. And we are targeting that in our market, in another couple of years, we may have 6 to 7 million vehicles running on EV.
Wow.
So that's the target, and this is jointly done by Department of Heavy Industries, by my Department of Science and Technology, and we have created a technology platform for electric mobility that would be funded by DHI, Heavy Industries, and all technical program would be managed by DST. Our objectives are to develop technologies and product that specifically address our needs, Indian needs, to develop global competitive edge in select technology of electric mobilities and to strengthen our industry technology capability sufficiently so as to be able to reduce and wean off consumer subsidy program for electric vehicle in near future. Right now, we are running this program on electric mobile on subsidy we are providing to consumers who are buying such vehicles. But then we would like that in future they are sold like a normal car without any subsidy. So 6 priority areas we have identified, which are obviously lithium-ion batteries. We are looking for low voltage platform for charging, driving, cycling and traffic patterns, motors and drivers, ultra capacitor, and also lightweight, how it could be reduced in terms of weight. And what we are how we are trying to do it is that we are creating center of excellence and testing facilities. And we are also we have formed industry technology consortia led by automotive and component companies with significant academic participations. And we are encouraging innovation platform to support scientific research by academia or laboratory and to support new product development by private companies. So this is the overall approach as far as internal funding and internal planning is concerned within India. So 2 departments, DHI and DST, would be playing a vital role in time to come. Thank you.
Yeah, I have it goes back to Anna. So it looks like that there is a bigger gap even between in UK and also probably in India as well, and across your wonderful program of academia, enterprise, Newton funds, and then you have wide variety including Africa Prize, etc. So would you like to explain those, how you are planning to bring because I always say I'm a good fan of Royal Academy of Engineering. The reason being is they are for developing and nurturing the early career researchers and early career societal entrepreneurs. That is a really key growth sectors where the people are challenging themselves not only across the nation but also internationally. So can you please explain those different programs and how that can benefit internally and externally?
Of course, yes. Thank you very much. Yes, a little bit, I suppose, about the academy. So we are a national charity. We operate in the UK, but globally as well. And going back to your specific point about the research and innovation engagement, specifically with India, you mentioned few mechanisms or few programs that we're running. So the academy's research and engagement with research and innovation engagement with India in recent years has been really focused on partnership in two Newton Fund programs. So transforming systems through partnerships, which is formerly the Industry Academic Partnership Program, and the LIFT program, so the Leaders in Innovation Fellowship Program, and also the Frontiers program, of course, which has several awardees from India as well as alumni. So in terms of the transforming systems through partnership program, it's carried out in partnership with the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and also the Startup Hub, and through LIF, the program is actually delivered with the CIIE Innovation Hub and the Indian Institute of Management in Ahmedabad. So our support has been significant. We've been working in partnership since 2017, and the size of awards that we have given as part of this. The various different programs is worth almost £2 million. Each collaboration has a lead institution, of course, including Indian universities and technical institutes across the country, which are partnering with a UK university partner and a number of in-country industry partners ranging from large international companies to startups and SMEs that are addressing a locally important development challenges. So partnerships have typically focused on drawing upon industry expertise to enhance engineering education, or drawing on research expertise to improve the delivery of critical infrastructure projects. On the Leaders in Innovation program, so the entrepreneurship program that we are also delivering, that program has been running since 2014 when it was launched, and we are in the seventh round of the program. The whole idea behind LIF is to provide entrepreneurship training and mentorship, as well as the support to those who are looking to set up and grow successful engineering and technology companies. It is focusing on emerging leaders in the international innovation community, with access to high quality skills training, focused on commercialization, and of course a network of peers in their own country. But also we're very keen to ensure there is a strong connection to the UK, as well as entrepreneurs and sort of key stakeholders across the world as well. So the program also involves bespoke training and follow-on support, and we are quite pleased with the key outcomes that have been delivered through the program. This is, in terms of the outcomes, there is new perspectives, new connections, new mindsets. We've got plenty of very strong kind of entrepreneurs or success cases, individuals delivering some phenomenal groundbreaking innovations to tackle some of the biggest challenges. And then very briefly to mention the Frontiers program as well, which supports a pipeline of exceptional early to mid-career researchers, innovators and practitioners, again from around the world. And the purpose is to equip them with the right networks and resources to tackle global challenges. We run the symposia, which normally involves a large number of participants. We have had more than 45 participants based out of India, and then we've also had event chairs and session chairs from India as well. 20 Frontiers seed projects have been awarded, and this includes collaboration with India-based researchers and innovators, and we're very pleased with the progress made there, and substantial amount of funding, grant funding, has been awarded. So it's as far as the academy is concerned, this is a very fruitful and a hugely important collaboration with substantial benefits, both for the UK, but also for India and more generally state of innovation globally.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anna. I think, as I said, I'm a good fan of RA, and so it has a wide variety of fantastic programs. So I think Kevin brought up a fantastic question. That is where exactly it fits in with Pim as well. So Pim, how do we encourage the private sector to invest in university research? That's a really important thing, particularly when you talk about the Silverstone cluster, where you have quite a lot of companies around, and then you are doing quite a lot of mapping exercises on different technologies, including our own graphene, etc. So can you please explain the different programs, and how do you think that this is applicable both to us as well as for India as well, and wider sectors? You are on mute, Pim.
I promised myself I was going to click the button before speaking, but obviously I missed. Apologies. It's actually one of those challenging things, because a lot of our guys are particularly good at, if you will, doing the D of R&D and really sort of bridging that valley of death in between the university research and then the commercial applications. And it's a very challenging thing, because much as people enjoy doing the work for doing the work's sake and making those technological breakthroughs, a lot of the smaller companies need the finances to be able to do that as well. So we as the SEC offer some support with that, and obviously I know that UKRI are particularly skilled at that and providing grants and all that sort of stuff. But we're very keen to promote closer working relationships between the universities that we have here, but also overseas opportunities where universities where applicable, to help bridge that gap more. But it continues to be a challenge, and I've seen many instances where we've had some really fantastic projects that just didn't seem to have an end destination because that commercial process wasn't thought out enough. So that's one of the things that we're trying to help our customers with, or our members with as well. So, for instance, we linked up with the likes of Amazon Web Services to put together an innovation program. We also linked up with an organization called Be the Business to help with more sort of strategic outcomes and let them help develop sort of strategic plans. So there's quite a lot of support there that we're offering to help boost that, but it continues to be a challenging thing. And I think, the more we can do, all of us can do to bring together academia and industry more is going to be a good thing. So I would love to see more of these sort of events where we bring the both groups together and plot new ways forward and look for other opportunities to bring them together, really.
Excellent. Thanks, Pim. That brings to Rebecca into picture. Rebecca, I think the conversation goes towards, again, the academy, private sector, and also university research to bridge the gap or bridge the bigger gap. And previously, Tata Narasimha, one of the ARCA director, he was talking about valley of death, particularly between the university research, particularly in India. It's more on publication and growing around, whereas it's not kicking on to the commercialization stage. So does UKRI has some programs or anything which they are planning to bridge this bigger gap?
We do. I wonder, Surendra, did you want to chip in?
Yeah, sorry.
I had, you can go ahead. I have another questions for you and Miss Anna. Okay. Please go ahead.
Okay, so focusing in then, Satheesh, on the valley of death and how we can overcome that and what might be an option. So UKRI, now that we have been formed, we bring together the disciplinary research councils and Innovate UK, the UK's innovation agency. We have a whole range of schemes and activities that support both innovation in businesses and innovation in academia and research. And I think it's really important that we don't just talk about or think about innovation as something that belongs to companies. It's something that belongs everywhere. In fact, separating research and innovation is quite difficult. It's thoughts and ideas that can lead to many things. You touched on a really important point about incentives and the importance of national funding structures to recognise incentives and the impact that has. As you say, if we are driving people towards measurements that are related to publication, people only have a certain amount of time and energy. That means that they are driven to do something with that time and energy that might not be related to what we anticipate that the publications lead to, which would be potentially IP, societal change, economic prosperity, spin out companies, products. And I think it's really important we recognise that. UKRI obviously now in our new structure includes the Research Excellence Framework, which is the UK's method of assessing these things. And we have moved from being publication focused to also covering impact. And it's quite a complex process. Obviously, it's reasonably straightforward to count the number of publications and the impact value of those. Straightforward to count. I'm not saying that it's a straightforward process or that you can actually compare them well. Much harder, though, to look at the economic and social impacts, and we do that in a much more qualitative way where we're really assessing and understanding what's come over a longer time period from research that's been undertaken in universities. So I think there are ways to do that. There is undoubtedly an awful lot for all funders to learn in this space, and it is something that I'm sure we will keep developing. in relation to how we're working with India in this area, since we've moved from being Research Council's UK India to UKRI India, I've been so excited by the change that's made in the conversations with co-funders here in India. So conversations with Varshney, for example, in DST and others elsewhere, and recognising the level of openness to working in that broader way. So I think that we'd potentially been slightly nervous that bringing the innovation, the business side in might have stepped us slightly further away from our Government of India co-funders, but in fact they're reasonably, I don't want to say it in public, but maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead of us in some of the way they're thinking about these things. And so we've been having conversations recently. While we don't have our budget settlement from the spending review yet, we've been talking with the DST teams, for example, about a range of areas we'd love to work with them on, including, for example, power electronics, machines and drives, which I realise isn't batteries, but it's as close as I could come up with to the theme of this conference at the moment. And really looking at how we can be working in a way that is bringing together industry knowledge, expertise, people with academia, ideas, and making sure that we're building something that I think has been suggested already also connects in with policy. I think this was one of the questions in the chat. How do you make people use technologies? So we are make or enable people to use technologies. So we're really excited working in that way with DST. It's definitely a step forward for us in terms of how we think about what we're doing internationally. It is very, very exciting indeed.
Excellent. Surendra, you want to say something? Or?
Yeah. I have a quick question to both directors of RAE and UKRI. So after finishing this RAE or UKRI proposals, can we apply immediately a joint proposal? And what could be the success rate? And then what area we should emphasize so that our proposal becomes strong? And also to Dr. Sanjeev also.
Rebecca, would you like to go first, or?
Okay, since he has taken mine also, probably I can.
Okay.
Well, sir, there is no fixed or rigid formula that each proposal which we receive will go for success. In fact, the grants are competitive and you have to stand out in terms of the proposals which we have received against a particular call. But coming to your second question, that what could be the success rate, it varies depending upon call to call. And primarily, the funding agency decides that how much budgetary resources they would make available for a particular call. And then it depends upon the response. Because if response is overwhelming, obviously, we are limited with 2 choices. Either we cut down the budget and take large number of projects, which we would not love to do, because anything that has been proposed in good spirit should be done, supported as far as possible. So we would take the second option, which is to support a limited number of proposals. Now, coming to your third question, yes, you are free to submit a proposal as and when call is made. We have calls with different partners. So suppose you have done a UKRI project, you can submit UKRI proposal, you can submit RAE proposal. You're most welcome. Only thing is you must make an honest statement how much work you have done in the previous project and what is the value addition you are bringing in the new proposal. Thank you. Maybe Rebecca and Anna would like to add.
Very nice, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was a fantastic summary. So maybe one thing to add very quickly is we absolutely love to see interdisciplinarity in the proposals. So that is probably the only thing that I would add. Thank you.
Likewise, I think Sanjeev, you've covered most of the important points there. We would agree with everything you said. I think the one additional thing we can say is that in addition to the strategic calls that we develop our Government of India co-funding partners here, where you have a specific call that we hope that some of you at every point will be able to apply into. UKRI is international in the way it thinks anyway. So we have an international co-investigator policy that's in operation for the majority of our research funding schemes. So as well as bilateral or multilateral, where we have agreed processes, specifications, ways of working with partners in other countries, our domestic funding groups are open for international partnerships as well. There are inevitably rules around that and various eligibility criteria, but it means that you can apply through standard routes for whichever idea it is you have, and you will progress that way through standard competitions, which tend not to have very high success rates for exactly the reasons Varshney's outlined already.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Kevin, I have a question for you. I think it's one of the key thing I think Anna also touched now about interdisciplinarity. So as we see in this whole conference itself, we have three strands. One's on materials technology, other on design with industry, and the other last strand is on policy, regulation, and development. But in order to realize the society sustainability with bigger societal impact, and we need to talk about really big. So what is your take on interdisciplinarity and also how it should be programmed, particularly in terms of funders, if there is any example which you can think of? And I think I don't generally put the question back to you, but the encouragement towards private sector to invest to university research is also key, not only for the development of the ecosystem, but also the whole picture of societal impact. So I would appreciate if you could share your thoughts or comments.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Satheesh. I think my major comment on interdisciplinarity is you need to be patient. Developing the right relationships takes time. And I think one of the great pleasures of being an academic is spending that time to find out what other people are doing, listening to alternative points of views within a field, and then slowly developing the collaboration. After that period, I guess, of nurturing and creating new relationships, I think the next really important thing to do is to be very clear about what you're trying to achieve. So particularly as people work across different disciplines, we sometimes have different languages to explain our work. Sometimes the way in which we assess quality is different. So some fields are very keen on certain types of publications, other on knowledge exchange. So I think relationship building and being patient. I think what universities can do here is to give people the confidence to take some risks, to take time learning about new research fields. And certainly from my own experience, that's always played dividends if you play a long enough game on it and don't just expect to find the perfect collaborator instantly. I think the other point on private investment is the role of early stage venture capital. Particularly in the UK, I don't know so much about India, but there are some very good, very tax efficient schemes that are encouraging private investors to take greater risks at an earlier stage. And certainly in my area in life sciences, that is fueling a lot of research where universities and academics need to give up a bit of ownership. They need to be prepared for their technology to be developed by commercial experts. And the benefit of that is you get a huge acceleration in the rate of progress. You're not waiting for a research grant to come through with the best will in the world. UKRI and others can only fund a small fraction of the good ideas that are out there. So again, I think it's really important, and things like the ARC in the UK, the Oxford-Cambridge ARC, I think is a really fantastic opportunity to bring together investors and academic groups. But we've got to understand each other's motivations. Those investors, whilst they're very happy to see very good publications coming out, that's not why their money's going in. So again, it's all about relationship building and I think respecting each other's motivations.
Excellent. And coming back to Anna now, I think how critical is the diversity in research and also gender balance is important in having the ideas getting circulated among them, so that there's no one-dimensional thinking?
Yes, well, hugely important, and I guess it won't come as a surprise to anyone when I say that engineering is still very still not as diverse as we would like it to be. It certainly is not representative. The profession is certainly not representative of the society that we live in. So diversity is absolutely massively important, and the Academy has a number of different initiatives to ensure, well, first of all, to tackle the engineering skills shortfall and the serious diversity deficit. This will be true not just in the UK, but in most countries where women and minority ethnic groups remain vastly and unacceptably underrepresented across the broad spectrum of engineering and technical skills. And as a national academy, one of our key strategic priorities is to support the development of world-leading and truly inclusive engineering for workforce in the UK. And there are lessons that we can share with other countries who are facing similar challenges. To achieve this, we need to increase both the numbers and the diversity of those choosing engineering careers. So we know that improving diversity within engineering is vital, but it is not sufficient. We also need to create and sustain inclusive cultures in which engineers from all backgrounds feel that they are welcome, valued, able to contribute to the full and sort of perform at their best, really. So because we know the best solutions come from diverse teams working in inclusive cultures, leading to outcomes that can better meet the needs of the society. So the engineers play a massively important role in shaping the world that we live in, designing and developing, delivering products, services, infrastructure that we all rely on. So accelerating progress on diversity and inclusion will bring benefits to both the profession and the greater public. And of course, creativity, productivity is also kind of plays a part here to increase awareness of risk and have better designed products and services that will address the needs of individuals from across the different parts of the society.
Yeah, excellent. I think that's a fantastic way to finish. Rebecca, that brings again to you as well. In terms of capacity building, I think you were talking about in some areas, Indian way of thinking is much ahead than UK, and I don't want you to name which areas are, but there are two aspects because I have been here in England since it's already 22 decades. I've been here for 20 years, and I see that I've seen two generations of Indians contributing to the society here in UK, and also other way in India as well. So we here bringing in the concept of capacity and capability building. There are two different aspects, and I feel that the interdisciplinarity and diversity is important. And the same way, is there anything which we both can learn from each other, and what are all the critical areas of research that needs to have a strategic importance, you think, that can address not only the climate change but also the bigger? Here we are talking about energy storage and batteries. Is there any particular areas which you would like to see the progress can be made?
That's an enormous question. Thank you very much. I'll try and tackle some parts of it. I'm sure I'll miss others. Possibly the parts I miss, I'm leaving for other panel members to pick up. I first of all want to agree with everything that Anna said. I think she gave an absolutely fantastic outline to the challenges we face and how we need to move forward. And for me, this is one of my massive bugbears. So you got something far more eloquent from Anna than you would have got from me. So yeah, there's so much that Indian people who have come to the UK have contributed to UK society, not just Indian, people from all over the world. I think, as Anna's response touched on, until you've really got deep understanding and perspectives from people from right across society, from different ethnic backgrounds, religious backgrounds, gender, sexuality, sex, ability, I mean, until you've really nailed that, there's no way you can find solutions that actually work. And I think this, bringing us into your question there about critical areas of research and sustainability, the reality is if we are focusing only on a narrow view from a narrow group of people, we're not going to find solutions. The solutions we find might be extremely good and technically feasible and scientifically plausible, but they won't work for the communities that we live in because they don't engage community. And so if we don't spend time making sure that we are taking that broader view and taking those wider ideas, we're not going to solve the challenges we have. In terms of capacity building and capability building, to be honest, I think the best way, so coming back onto my hobby horse here, I think we need to be practicing what we preach. I think there are so many excellent strategies and reports looking at the benefits of diversity and inclusion and building capacity amongst different groups. But we really do need to practice what we preach. And I think that's something that sits at all of our doors. We need to make sure that we are calling out inappropriate activities and language when we see it. We need to be making sure that we're thinking carefully in research design about who we're including and who we're excluding. We need to be, I think all of us, more careful in how we see interactions happening and challenging some of those. I mean, it's everything. And it's not something that just a group like we have here today that you've had over the last 3 days are going to be able to solve. And this is deep societal challenges where we still talk about boys' toys and the colours that we wear. I mean, that's just not helpful. So I think we need to take responsibility as individuals for how things work globally within our institutions, within our social networks. And until we do that, as well as building on the good practice that people are identifying, we're probably not going to move forward particularly quickly at all.
Kevin?
Thanks. Yeah, so I think very much building on what Rebecca just said, one of the challenges that I think we need to be very conscious of is the equality of access to new technologies. So if I look at the challenges around being a net zero economy, many of us on this call and many people in both countries will have the economic ability to buy into the latest technologies, which are going to be low carbon or net zero. But lots of people in our societies won't have that choice because of economic barriers. So I think one of the things I'd encourage us to look at jointly between India and the UK is how we ensure an equality of access to the future technology so that we don't leave people behind who are already economically disadvantaged and then they can't afford to participate in the future. And I think where this links with what Rebecca says is the teams that are likely to do a better job than that are likely to be from diverse backgrounds, that they're likely to understand the challenges better if their own lives have been informed by many different experiences.
Yeah, thank you. Sanjeev, do you want to have any response for the same, I think?
Well, thanks, Kevin. In fact, this is a cause of concern amongst many communities, that what are the topics we would like to work together and how we will be working. So these are some of the critical aspects, and we normally go by the suggestions given to us by scientific, entrepreneurial and industrial community, that what could be the topics on which we could collaborate with a given country. Now, since Rebecca is here, I would like to just give you a broad picture where we are what we are discussing these days with UKRI. We are discussing on net zero technology. We are discussing on CCUS, electric mobility, future network technologies, 5Gs, like 5G, green hydrogen, quantum, sensors. So these are the topics on which we are discussing, and we would like to make sure that not only our red brick institutions, but also our premier institutions participate in this collaborative program. And we could show some of the test case as example of India-UK bilateral cooperation in these sectors. So to start with, I could mention that maybe about 5 years or little longer, we started Virtual Network Center on Clean Energy. So it's the India-UK Virtual Energy Center, which is has put at least 10 institutions across 2 countries in a consortium mode, and they are working together and delivering. So realizing what kind of topics are suggested to us by our own scientific communities, industries, entrepreneurs, we try to pick up and discuss. And I'm so happy that not only UKRI, but our other UK partners also, they're quite open on these things. And I don't think we have ever said that, okay, you are debarred from this technology or you are debarred from these institutions. It is all open and it is all competitive. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Pim, do you have any reflections on this?
Yeah, I mean, Anna, thanks for speaking so eloquently, and Rebecca and Kevin, I completely agree with everything that's been said so far. I mean, we've, gender equality and diversity is something that we as the SEC push as well, and we very much encourage our members to do exactly what Anna indicated as well, where it's about creating these environments where people from a diverse background and different sexuality, nationalities, and all that sort of stuff feel welcome and are in a position to contribute. And there's no doubt in my mind that it's an imperative thing that if companies don't engage with that now and at least start a journey now, if they're not already on that journey, then they will not survive in the future. There's no place for dinosaurs, and that's what they will become very quickly if they don't adapt to that. So yeah, I would say it's rather than seeing it as something that is sort of forced upon you and you have to do and all that sort of stuff. In fact, if you don't do it, you will not survive as a business. So do yourself a favor and put your business in the best place to survive and embark on that sort of stuff. It is that important, and that's something that we try to stress where we can.
And actually, since you are here, do you have any other plans to expand to international networks in terms of you have a Silverstone cluster? So do you also like to bring in any other international companies in it? Say, for example, India-based companies where the innovation can happen in a very circular way.
Yeah, absolutely. We started in, so we're still quite a young organization. So we started on the 1st of January 2017. But in that time, we've had about 5 different delegations coming in from China. We've had delegations from France, from Russia, interest from South Korea and Kuala Lumpur, and other countries as well. So we're very much open to that. But we would do that kind of like on an accessible level to our members. So we're very keen to be the conduit to introduce organizations or companies from the other countries to interact with our members here and look at some of the innovative technologies that our members can provide. So we'd be very open to do that sort of stuff. I mean, obviously the COVID situation is not exactly helping with international travel and things, but hopefully we can either do something virtually or we eventually get back to a place where we can do that sort of thing again. And we'd be very open to that.
Excellent, thank you. Kevin, coming to you as well again. Skills development is one of the key areas, and Open University probably considering the University of Air, which probably looking at the way the whole pandemic situation has created, the hybrid technology or hybrid way of education, or even more towards technology-enhanced learning is progressing much forward. How do you see that in next 5 to 10 years that things will shape up in terms of skills development? Because there are lots of skills development needed where, say, there is a whole section of community has lost the engineering education in terms of hands-on skills, which particularly who started in 2019 because of this pandemic. And those section of community probably, they may not even see the university again, or they go into different jobs. Whereas that's the business which we are doing for the past 50 years is on this area. So can you share your experience and how this can be progressed with the benefit of AI and how AI can really make a huge impact? Or will it?
Yeah, thanks. So I'm going to speak mainly from a UK perspective here. We have a few problems with skills in the UK currently. The first is that we've probably neglected over quite a long period of time skills development, particularly for those people who are not going to go into a classical university education. So that's one problem we've got. COVID has had a really dramatic effect on skills availability in the UK. We're currently suffering from real shortages of skilled workforce, partly because people seem to have made some lifetime decisions to retire earlier. And also, over the last couple of years, we haven't had the pipeline of people coming through with the different skills. And then the third problem is we're at a time of massive change. So where are the people going to be who are going to install all of the green technology that we're going to need? Because this isn't classic do what you've done for the last 30 years. This is a step change in the skills that we need. So it's actually a really important time. I'm sure it's the same in India, but in the UK, we have to get better at training young people. We have to get better at giving people ways of reskilling right the way through their working life. So without doing too much of an advert for the Open University, the way you do this best is not to expect people to come to you for their training, but to go to them. So the ability to use technology so that people can continue in their current job and top up their training without having to physically move away from family or from their communities. And we've all learned during COVID that the technologies are more ready than we ever thought for this type of training. The next step's exciting. So if you think of some of the practical skills that will be needed in designing new battery technologies, the new types of manufacturing that will be needed, things like virtual reality, and the fact that for a couple of £100 now, you can buy a very high quality virtual reality device that will allow you to physically develop skills from your own home or from your own local area. So I think the future is great because technology is there, but I do worry we haven't got the commitment yet in the UK to really train the next generation.
Excellent. So now we have only about 7 minutes to end the panel. Any other questions coming from the audience? Please post it in. Bit challenging to the panel. I think they're one-dimensional. We have to give them energy, bit more energy to answer. Right. So as we look at the chat, Sanjeev, just wanted to ask you that from now till the next 5 years or something, what is the dream project which you would like to see in UK India thing? Something really big. The big in the sense having a bigger circular economy, having the participation from everyone, all section of the society goes really big. And that will have a drastical change in the way people think and the way the people will change their behaviors.
I think both governments are quite excited and committed on clean energy. So that is one priority, and we are trying to tap it from different possible sources, be it generation like renewable or green energy, or storage, and also how it could be deployed. And we realize that automobile sector is going to be a huge gainer, because currently city like Delhi, Rebecca will agree, is difficult to breathe. And we are finding this situation, this issues, this challenge every winter. We need to come out of it. We cannot reduce number of vehicles on the road. There are a lot of public transport schemes, but our public transport are awfully crowded and people use personal transport. So the better way is if we use fuel which is healthier, cleaner, and does not contribute to the overall pollution. So as I said in the beginning, that we target that by 2025, there should be 6 to 7 million vehicles on Indian roads being run on electric batteries. And as an example of India-UK collaboration, I would like to see some of these projects being delivered. And we would like to see a marriage between our academic institution and industry. And I'm sure that there are some good matches already, and they are already in conversation. And I hope this workshop for last 3 days would have also helped them in developing, renewing, and further nurturing their contacts to understand each other's position, each other's strength, and come out with a better proposal. So we would like that India-UK collaboration to deliver at least one good technology solutions which goes a long way to the society and help the two economies in reducing their pollutions and also encouraging things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll go back to Rebecca. So, Rebecca, you have been there for some time in India. And what is the bigger challenge you think which we need to address in terms of, I think Kevin touched about the building relationship. I think that is very critical, as well as building relationship, and that takes time to go. And probably, I think we have progressed in that case, particularly with the UK to India. But I'll put forward the question to you. What is the biggest challenge, again, which you think that in the next 5 years you would like to achieve as a dream team?
So I would agree, actually, with Sanjeev's first dream of clean energy in that wider space. But I think Stephen Pildich in the audience has asked a question that touches on what I think is maybe one of the biggest challenges. It's the vice versa part of his question. How do we encourage UK workers to gain international experience? And so for me, this is something that I would really love to focus more on and see if we can solve. The flow of students from India to the UK is enormous. I mean, it has been for a long time. There have been dips relating to visas, for example, but I understand that we've issued more than 100% more visas this year than we did last year. But the movement of students and early career researchers from the UK to other countries is so much smaller than I think it needs to be. And I think this touches on points we've already covered about interdisciplinarity, diversity and inclusion. Really, if we are forming this skills pipeline that we want, where every country is building the skills base we need to tackle complex challenges, to work across industry, academia, the public sector, policy, charity. If we want to do this, the best way I think of doing that is enabling people to gain wider experience, and coming out of the UK and UK institutions and spending some time elsewhere as part of your studies, I think is absolutely vital to that. I don't have an answer to how to do it, but that's one of the challenges that I really would love to see us tackling over the next couple of years.
I think that's the question which Stephen asked is a brilliant question, actually. So I can bring in my experience here. What we have seen is like in 2002, I think one of my friend from Bangalore, I think he came here to do some master's degrees, and he liked Newcastle and Edinburgh quite a lot, and then he started a distillery here. And it started really big business, and he started employing people, and it's now 20 years. It is surviving very well. So that's one example. There could be many like this. But are we incubating into a very, because I know that DST had a fantastic scheme about the mobility they support, but can that mobility go beyond that? And particularly, I feel that the undergraduate schemes, the undergraduates who are bubbling with energies, they are the one, are the postgraduates, they are the one has weird ideas to bring it into a much bigger picture. That could be one of the solutions, how we cater those, apart from our Commonwealth fellowships or Commonwealth schemes. Can we do anything on strategical schemes where the undergraduates and postgraduates spends their time, and then maybe that something can come out of the product where the sustainability can do. So probably I will have the similar reflections from Anna. I think she's always more eloquent than many of us, or maybe me or myself. Go on, Anna.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I couldn't agree more with what Rebecca, both of you have actually said. I think it's the flow of talent is ever so important, and yes, of course, it's fantastic for us in the UK to ensure that we have the best talent to enhance the innovation capacity of the nation. But it is about the kind of innovation capacity more globally rather than sort of country specific. So this two-way flow is phenomenal. I suppose one thing I can say to answer the question that was put in the chat, which was around supporting skilled international people come to the UK. There are multiple. Well, at least the Academy has two different schemes that it runs with the support of UK government, of course. So I think those are important mechanisms. The Global Talent Visa Program, as well as the Distinguished International Associates Program. So there are mechanisms, and of course there is always more that can be done. But I would also be very interested in exploring in depth the opportunities to do the exchange the other way around. We've seen some fantastic outcomes from the collaborations that individuals we support in the UK were able to the collaborative projects that were able to undertake with colleagues from across the world. So it's kind of how do we harness that global power and intellectual power to address the global challenges for the wider benefit of humanity. So for me, that's a fascinating topic, and really, from the Academy's point of view, would be really interested in exploring opportunities around that area.
Thanks, Anna. Pim, you're last, not but not the least. So, what's your plan for the next, probably for the 5 years you wanted to see, and along with the questions with Stephen asked about the skills development and retaining the international student skills as well?
Well, it's mainly sort of building on what we have. I mean, the reason that we came about as an organization is because of the organizations that already exist, all the companies that we're here. And it's for me, if I may give my personal view, I mean, collaboration is key to all of this, I feel, and it's one of the reasons why some of you may be familiar with what we're trying to do in the Supercluster, where we head up an initiative because obviously we exist as Silverstone Technology Cluster, looking after advanced engineering, electronics, and software. But there's other organizations like Cambridge Clean Tech or One Nucleus or Cambridge Network or other organizations like that do very similar things to what we do, and they also have members, and they also have highly innovative companies and things. And we're now spearheading an initiative to bring all of these together across the whole Oxford Cambridge arc, to encourage more collaboration, to bring those people together, make sure that the innovative scientists and the innovative engineers have opportunity to meet and develop. And then, of course, that's still in its relatively infancy. But then why wouldn't we extend that to across the world as well? Because, I am sure there are similar clusters that we could collaborate with in other countries, and I'm sure India is one of those. So why would we not try to force those international connections? Because quite clearly, the more that we all collaborate, the more that we all harness our combined power, the better we're able to solve all of these problems. So I would very much advocate that we don't work in isolation, but actually we aim to bring everything together and push people to collaborate. And bringing people together and encourage them to collaborate is the last part of what we do anyway. So the challenge that we have now is that we want to do that on a bigger scale, and eventually we'll go global with that as well.
Oh, excellent. I think we are just 5 minutes over schedule, so which I usually don't do that. But thank you so much for all the panel members. I just received a message from Indian High Commission. They have followed us in the Twitter. A message that saying that please accept our best wishes for the successful event and including how we maybe support from Indian High Commission. So anyway, thank you very much, all the panel members, and